Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope all is going well. So, as y'all can see, my setup behind me is a little bit different. And what it is, just so you all know, don't freak out. I didn't go anywhere. I have a podcast studio booth, and then I have a podcast studio in the house. Reason being, reason being is that I live in Arizona, and that podcast studio booth doesn't have AC, and we're already at 100 degrees already in the month of March. Normally it's not, it's cool out. So because of that, I decided to move my studio on the inside of the house so I can stay cool and not have a podcast where I'm turning into bacon while you guys are all watching me. So, but anyways, on another note, we have a guest on today's episode, and I'm going to intro this guest, but I just want to just make a quick comment here. If you have not followed the podcast, make sure you hit that follow button. When you hit the follow button, you'll never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. So yes, today's episode, we have Coach Quinn. And Coach Quinn, I don't want to tell your story or dive into it. I'd rather you do that. But I just want to let you know on behalf of myself and the podcast, Fast Forward Mindset Motivational Podcast, welcome. And it's a pleasure to have you, Quinn.
Hey, Coach James, I'm excited to be on, and I'm glad you're in a cool place and not bacon. I'm in Texas, and it's already probably up to 94 degrees, so I
Okay.
know the feel, I know the vibe, but I'm excited to be on. I'm thankful to connect with your people, your fam that listen, and I really am so passionate about that next generation. I call it my Zillennial fam. People like
Mm,
you, like the Zillennials and Millennials that are connected together, and the passion you guys have to move missions, to move mountains, and to climb mountains. So I'm so thankful to be on and look forward to our discussion today. And let's see if we can help few people out and impact some change around this world, right?
that's the plan. Perfect. So, Coach Quinn, before we get into logistics, I got your book called Growth Time. And I was just telling everyone, Quinn, before we started recording, that I read like the first 10 or 11 pages. And I was so stuck in the book, I didn't want to put it down. And I'm like, I got to put it down because I only read so many pages a day. It's just from what I got going on with my timing and all that. But I was like, I can't wait until I get in to read the book completely. So I set it down. So thank you, Quinn, for the book. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's been pretty cool. It's a recently released book. It's my first one, which was a 4 year journey of navigating through
Hmm.
writing it. But I've experienced that, and it's really cool. You, as a creative, you never know what the response is going to be. And when you start getting reviews and responses that go, oh, this is meaningful, this is touching me, this is
Hmm.
helping me change, this is identifying growth areas, and you're like, wow, okay, I'm onto something. This is really making an impact. But you work for something for 4 years and you release it, you don't know what's going to happen. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm thrilled that you had such a big grin on your face when you jumped on and shared that. So I'm just thrilled that it'll create an impact, hopefully, in your life story too.
Yep, I'm sure it will. Well, hey, Quinn, without further ado, tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us who you are and share a little bit something special that you want my listeners to know. And just real quick for my listeners, you guys all know that the podcast is about rewiring the way you think. Okay. I'll bring these guests on for you so you can get a different perspective on how to rewire the way you think. And me and Quinn just happened to somehow, some way come into contact with each other. And I'm like, hey, Quinn, I think you'll be great on my podcast. So he's here. He's going to share his journey. Make sure you're engaged and you get something from this. So go ahead, Coach Quinn.
Yeah, as a storyline, I played high school, college, and pro basketball. And through that journey, I actually learned a lot about myself. And then after pro basketball, from a high level, I started to work in the corporate world,
Hmm.
worked in the fitness industry for years and climbed the corporate ladder. And after that journey of 17 years, COVID hit. And so COVID was this massive, unfortunately, casualty period in my life. And so we choose to forget COVID, but it was
Yeah.
real. And I walked through some challenging personal issues and professional issues. My 17-year career in the fitness world as a mid-senior level manager got swallowed up. And
Wow.
in that was like, wow, what's next? What's my next
Hmm.
step? And so the story of growth time and the impact of it really stemmed out of pain. And I think that's important because of a lot of our journeys and your people that are listening, you've gone through some pain, you've gone through some suffering, you've gone through
Mm-hmm.
some trials, and you're identifying, well, what is my mission or what is my purpose through this? And if you're next level or rewiring your brain, as we say, right, James? How can
Yep.
I use this to make a difference and not get stuck in the pain and suffering? So what was really cool during that period, James, is I got the notion as I was furloughed and later my job was eliminated that I wanted to take a next step in pursuing my mission. I had
Mm-hmm.
a really clear mission statement, James, in my early 30s. I
Okay.
found out that having a clear mission statement was an impactful way to anchor my identity. And that was a game changer. My mission statement, which I coached countless people through,
Mm-hmm.
was to grow and develop leaders' lives through impactful coaching, training, and education. So I did that for years in the corporate world, and now it was time to take that next step in the entrepreneurial space to get out of that realm and really get into a next space of being able to impact people. And so I got into the coaching space. I got into life coaching, got into leadership coaching, and really the cool story about Growth Time was really one night, James. It was
Mm-hmm.
really one night that Growth
Yeah.
Time was coming forth. And it was pretty much 6, 7 months into COVID. I had
Mm-hmm.
started to think about how I would like start life coaching, and I started the journey of life coaching and leadership coaching. And I was in my bed from about 9 p.m. till about 4 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say God just deposited in me the vision of Growth Time. And what it made me reflect upon was my story from
Mm-hmm.
struggling, disconnected, false identity as a man, trying to find myself as I pursued professional basketball, to adversity and struggles pursuing that goal or passion in professional basketball, to eventually having it ripped away, then to the corporate world and how I navigated through challenges through leadership growth in the corporate world. And as I reflected on my journey, I said, how did I navigate those and what were my growth gaps during those seasons of life?
Mm-hmm.
And how did I develop confidence? And I think that's the crux for my next generation fam is we tend as people to wrestle with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and we wrestle with just an unbelief in what our goals and missions are. And in that reflection period, I looked at, wow, what were those growth gaps that I had to navigate through? And how could I use that to impact people I love? How can I impact the next generation? I don't know why, Coach James. I probably view myself as
Mm-hmm.
a big dad or a big coach to the next generation. And if I can help them achieve their goals and dreams,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all in. But in that process of reflection that night, I literally penned out the 6 growth zones of Growth Time. And those
Mm-hmm.
are what we'd see as growth gaps that need to be addressed. Took me years to do it. And I said, wow, if I can get information to people and growth lessons and how to grow through these growth gaps sooner, they'll go faster and further. And
Mm-hmm.
coaching is such a powerful way to do that. So really one night, I think between me and God, he just dropped it on me. I navigated through it and I had the framework for a book. And I know you're working on your book. I heard you on a different
Yeah.
podcast. So I know you're working on it. But I
Yep.
created that framework and
Mm-hmm.
then I said, wow, I know it worked to continue being in a place, even though I was in pain and difficulty and struggle, of having confidence to keep going forward in life. How could I then use this to help others? And so I
Mm-hmm.
created the Growth Time process. But what was even better is that's my experience. No one really cares about my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started coaching people through it, and I've coached now thousands of sessions with my Zillennial fam, when I started seeing transformation, I started seeing career advancement.
Mm-hmm.
I started seeing people get life and leadership skills, matching their money with their mission and how those align. I'm like, wow, there's really something here to really impact people and create growth and help people climb this mountain of personal and professional growth. So there's a lot there, but you threw a lot of pitch to me, Coach James, to give an option of what this story is about. So, man, I just laid it out there.
Hey, I love it. You said something that really caught me. You said about the moment of self-doubt, with us. A lot of times in this world, we're so doubtful of our own selves. I was reading this book and I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was talking about how we're just really insecure with ourselves and we have a lot of doubt within ourselves. Well, we take that inner doubt and we paste that on other people and we think that they have the same self-doubt in us. And because of that reason, we think we're failure. So we think everyone else thinks that we're a failure. And that's just one thing internally that kind of holds us pinned in to self-doubt, is because we doubt ourselves. We feel like everyone is going to doubt us. And when we feel that way, we don't do anything. But I like, Coach, you called out that God put it on your heart, He put it on your mind, and said, "Hey, this mission is for you." And you took that next step, and you move forward with your mission by writing the book, becoming a coach, and all that good stuff. So I really love that share, because that really sets the stage for those to know that, hey, I may have had this idea, but what am I going to do about it?
Yeah, Coach James, a lot of times it's moving into action.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have this notion, whether it's our faith, whether it's our mindset, mindset does change behavior, but we have to take those steps. We have to
Mm-hmm.
get into action with that. And that's where the magic happens. That's where we break through our own limiting beliefs, when we get into forward movement. And obviously, your podcast, which I love, is Fast Forward. How do we get into forward movement?
Mm-hmm.
Is once we have some level of clarity or hope or mission, how fast can we take this gap of thought to action, and then
Mm-hmm.
sustain action to see whatever mission or goals we're having move in a direction that brings some impact and some fulfillment to our own lives?
Wow, that's great. So I got to ask, because I know you mentioned about professional basketball, and I'm a huge basketball fan. Just so you know, I have my own little one. My wife calls it semi pro league. She always makes fun of me, but I go to one of the gyms that is close to me, and I play a little bit of basketball on the weekends. Now, a lot of these guys, Quinn, they're a lot younger than I am. They're a lot faster, but because I'm competitive in my mind, I'll find a way to overcome that part, right? But just want to talk a little bit about your past NBA fortune. Well, what you wanted to get into. How did that all start, and how did that end for you?
Sure. So I had played college basketball at Davidson
Hmm.
College. That's like Steph Curry U, as people know it by. So I played
Okay.
at Davidson College, and at the time I thought I'd get drafted. I didn't get drafted. So
Hmm.
I went into the CBA, which at the time was like the G League. It was the league below the NBA. And so before I got actually into that realm of minor league basketball, I had to really still address myself. And I think
Hmm.
that's the story we all wrestle with, is how do we find ourselves? How do we find ourselves? And so even though you had looked at me as a confident, pro basketball player, guy who had, good schooling, good
Hmm.
social skills, there was so much of a mask and so much toxic behavior behind
Hmm.
it that it was
Hmm.
really like a facade or front. I
Okay.
really had this core space of doubt in me. It was always self-doubt, and it was always unsure if I had enough, or if I was enough, or I could be enough. And interesting enough, what really was a highlight for me was right out of college, I had a tryout with the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm
Hmm.
in Los Angeles, and there's a summer league. That's where you make your name. And some of the players from the NBA teams are on those summer leagues. So I'm in LA
Hmm.
trying out for the team, and I'm having a shooting competition with this 18-year-old kid after practice. And
Hmm.
we're just talking at each other. And so I could talk a game, but I didn't have the confidence, let's say, to back it up at the highest
Hmm.
level, right? And so we're going back and forth, and he's telling me he's a better shooter. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not a better shooter. But what was unique about this 18-year-old kid is he had such a different level of confidence and surety of him, and it made me realize I don't have that. So I don't know if I could really play in the NBA, or play at that level of life, or
Hmm.
play at that level of position, or if you're looking for career, maybe you're doubting, can I really be at that level of a manager or a leader or an entrepreneur? Can I really get there? Because I see other people have it, but something's missing in me. And that 18-year-old kid I was shooting with was a guy named Kobe Bryant. And
Wow.
so in that journey, he had just a different elevated confidence in himself and what he could do. And I knew I lacked that deeper level of it.
Hmm.
So what happened in my story was, as I went into the minor leagues, I got in a rut, and I was at the end of the
Hmm.
bench, doubting myself, doubting what I'm doing, fearful what the next step was in my life. Everyone's going by me, things are going faster, and I'm sure people on this and listening are thinking, yeah, I might be right there right now. I'm in that place right now.
Hmm.
And I had a transition, a mindset shift that happened during that dark period. And it came through a powerful question a roommate on the road asked me. It was a faith based question, and I didn't necessarily grow up with a strong religious or faith
Hmm.
background. But he asked me a question, and he was in my room, and he said, "Hey, where are you in your life with Jesus?" And I said, "Well, I got enough problems, man. I'll get to that later." And I kind of shoot it away. But what
Mm-hmm.
the question did, and that's the part of coaching and powerful questions, was it challenged me. I
Mm-hmm.
knew at that moment I didn't know what I believed about spirituality.
Yeah.
I had no clue, and I didn't have a connection to what it even looked like. And Coach James, that bothered me.
Yeah.
That bothered me. I didn't know. And I would say right there, that's where my growth time in life began.
Okay.
Because I started challenging what I believed. I started challenging the mindsets I grew up with. I
Mm-hmm.
started challenging the mindsets I believed about myself. And I got into this space of saying, wow, I'm in this like box I built myself into. And if I don't challenge the way I think and believe, I might just stay in that box my whole life. And it was a
Mm-hmm.
painful box to live in. Out of that, there's two things that happened. I eventually came, and this is my
Mm-hmm.
personal journey, everyone's story is different, but I personally came to a belief that in a God, in a Jesus, and that relationship was a catalyst to get me past my own ego, my own pride,
Mm-hmm.
my own doubt. And all of a sudden, my world shifted. I was so much more open to personal growth and adopting mindsets that would actually get me out of my box. And in that, within 6 months, my confidence went from like here to here.
Wow.
And I went from the bottom of the bench of the CBA
Mm-hmm.
to elevated status in the summer league to signing a contract with the Los Angeles Clippers. And
Mm-hmm.
all the difference was from one level to the next. I had the same skill. It wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
I became MJ, LeBron, or the GOAT. I mean, I just transformed based upon elevating my confidence. And the journey of that is meaningful to me. And I think for people that are listening today, is getting into your growth time and understanding your growth gaps will elevate your confidence, which then allows you to go for it in life, to go
Mm-hmm.
big, to show up big in your families, to show up big in your relationships, to show up big in your career. It gets you the most out of your life to live a big life rather than smalling yourself down like I had smalled myself down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of part of the story of the basketball career and why I'm so passionate about coaching people through the growth journey to build confidence. Anything's possible with confidence.
Yeah. Confidence is where it all starts. I'll tell you, I was a great athlete, but the reason why I didn't play sports in high school sports, because I played, basketball at the park, football at the park. I was great, but I didn't play the organized sports because it was all about confidence for me. I thought that everyone was better than I was, Quinn. And as I got older, I started realizing how talented I was. And so I started challenging these people who used to beat me playing basketball. Well, we're on a basketball team in high school. And now, like, we're both out of high school. My confidence is way much taller now than it was in high school. So I can beat you. And because of that mindset, like you said, that confidence shift, yeah, I was able to beat those guys who made the team. And I was looking at myself like, why didn't you try out for the team? But it was all because my confidence was so low. I didn't do any of that because I was afraid of myself. Yeah. So that's definitely a great story of confidence. Definitely. So after the NBA, sounds like you moved on to the coaching aspect of things, right? And today, tell us a little bit about where you are today. I know you talked a little bit about coaching the youth and things of that nature, but tell us where you are today and what do you do to try to help those change their mindset?
So the biggest place I come from after basketball,
Hmm.
I ran into a number of injuries. So there became
Okay.
this story of like it wasn't the pinnacle, it was
Hmm.
a part, and I ran into a number of different injuries, one after the other over a 2 year period, and it kind of like taught me how to get past not just who I was,
Hmm.
but how to get past belief barriers that would hold me back. So there was a journey that actually I had to break through to still elevate how I approach life. And I kind
Okay.
of write about it quite a bit in Growth Time. There's really three sections of Growth Time that address three major growth gaps. One is the power of you, the second is the power of beliefs, and the third section is the power of personal liberty.
Hmm.
So, what I end up coaching to a lot and how I help people break through is coaching through these three layers or these three growth zones.
Okay.
I find that even in my millennial, zillennial fam, that most of the people I coach are, say, from 25 to 36, 37. But I find it, even these growth gaps exist in some of the older kind of executive people I coach, that without strong life skills, it affects their leadership skills. It affects their ability to perform at their job or goal that they're trying to achieve. So after that journey of professional sports, I got into the fitness world and was elevated through doing sales. I did a lot of sales, man. And by the grace of God, I was really good at it. And from the sales world, I got elevated into leadership and I fell in love with leadership. And so the growth time journey just doesn't look as far as growing you as a life person or life skills. It also takes you through leadership. So the journey is to navigate the next generation to unlock their best life and leadership. Because when we are strong in life and leadership, man, we have a different elevated confidence we can handle life. And leadership's just not the corporate world. It's leading your kids. It's leading a family.
Yep.
It's leading, influencing people that are around you. I recently had a stay-at-home mom message me, and she had read Growth Time, and she was former military, stayed home. She says, those leadership principles are changing the way I parent. And so it's a powerful tool. So I spend most of my energy these days doing two things: coaching people at a high level to reach their potential and help them achieve whatever goal they're trying to achieve, whether that's clarity on their mission, whether that's next step in their career, whether it's leadership development. I do quite a bit of business coaching. So
Okay.
small business owners, helping them navigate through their business coaching models to help them support the mission they're moving. Anyone who has a mission they want to move and they know they'll go further faster with a coach, that's what I target. That's where my best is helping them move faster, further, kind of like that background of yours. Fast forward. Let's fast forward you to where you want to go.
Yeah. Good. I love that. That's great, Quinn. And for my listener, just so you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Coach Quinn's contact info in the body of this podcast episode. So if you're interested in his services, you're interested in his book, there will be links that you can go to that will get you to him. If you're okay with that, Quinn, that's what I'm going to do, just so they can find a way to contact you.
I love the idea, and I will share with your audience, and you probably can hear the passion coming through because I so believe in what this next generation, probably the greatest generation that will live on the face of this earth. I believe in it. And, and I would say to them, this book is more of a message and a resource. It's written from someone who has a heart for you, a heart to see you move your mission and change the world you influence. So as a message, and there's resources within it. It's written as a coaching fable, which is really cool. It's written from the standpoint of a person who's navigating through adversity and trying to find themselves, and they meet up with a cool Coach G, we call him in the book. He meets up with a coach, and there's a system in place to help him navigate his life. But gosh, there's also resources in there so you get to practical action. Like you mentioned, James, like intent without action creates what we call being stuck and stagnant in life.
Yeah.
And so it gives you steps in there to say, here's how I navigate my growth time. This is my growth time. I own it. Not my boss, not my leader, not my corporate, not a parent. No, I own my own growth time. It's my growth time right now.
It's powerful. Your growth time is your growth time, right? It's no one else's. It's not your mom's. It's not your dad's. It's not your neighbor's. It's not that bad experience you had when you're 10. It's your growth time. And that has to be a priority in your life if you're wanting to get to the next level. So, Quinn, I always ask a question before we finish out the podcast, but I want to make sure that you've shared all the information you shared before I ask this question.
Hey, Coach James, I could go on forever. We could talk all day. I love your smile and your energy. So
Yeah,
if we went all day, let's go ahead and play that game. I'm on
right.
fire. But
Yeah. No, I
no,
see your
I feel like
passion. I, I see your passion and I love your passion and your joy, right? Because a lot of people talk about these things of helping people, Quinn, but not saying they don't have the passion, but sometimes it doesn't radiate, right? But yours just radiates through the camera. The way you speak about things, like you said about the next generation, they're going to be great, but they need something to be able to hold on to show their greatness or get to greatness, right? And so I definitely love that your drive and your passion that you have for helping others improve and get to where they want to be in life with achievements.
Yeah. And I think it's necessary. I think when I've looked at the coaching industry as a
Hmm.
whole and the power of coaching, and as a credentialed certified coach,
Hmm.
what I see is that there's this gap in our generation right now. The generational gap started probably in the 40s, 50s, where
Hmm.
the family unit is broken apart and the male strength, the male leader, the fatherhood role, it kind of diminished.
Yep.
And what happens with that is masculinity, and I can
Hmm.
identify with this, is like demulsified. It's evaporated, and you don't develop strong people, men and women.
Hmm.
And with that, what this generation identifies with is coaches. They've had coaches. They've had sports coaches. A lot of the youth, they get the parents get their kid a coach for anything. Like if you need
Hmm.
to like brush your teeth, there's a coach to probably teach you how to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
So they get
Yeah.
the coaching model that coaching is a way to mentor and coach people.
Hmm.
And coaching at its core is not just giving you advice, it's about helping people explore themselves. It's
Hmm.
about asking powerful questions so they're navigating through their own journey. That there are resources within that they need to navigate through to get clarity on them. So coaching isn't like we're used to, me and you, Coach James, for sports or training. Go,
Hmm.
go, 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 do this.
Yeah.
No, it's an exploratory space, non judgmental, open arena, navigating you so you
Hmm.
can get to your goals and your vision. So, if anything, when you're listening, I guess I did have a little more to add. Coaching is such a powerful vehicle at its core
Hmm.
to help people be the mission movers God created them to be.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Amen to that. Yeah, coaching is definitely premier, especially these days, because like you said, with some of us who didn't have a father in the home or a mother that was missing, right? You need someone to be able to lean on to be able to help you and guide you through life. Because going through life without a guider, it just makes life so much more difficult. And that reason why Quinn and why I lean on God a lot more these days, because I view him as my father, right? And I don't want to do anything to ruin my relationship with God. And not saying that's even possible because God loves us no matter what, right? But I don't want to do anything for him to be upset with me. And so when I look at like my father's watching me, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. My dad's looking at me, right? And I don't want to be in my dad's bad light. And so I'm going to do the best things that I know that I should be doing, and I'm going to use that as my guide in life of things I shouldn't do and should not do. But back like you were saying about the coaching, yeah, we all need some type of coaching. Even myself, there was a guy I reached out to before I started this podcast, and I was like, "Hey man, look, you've been doing this for years. You're very successful at it. Tell me what do I do?" And tell you what his response was. He said, "Hey," he goes, "I'm glad you reached out to me. I'm glad you view me as a mentor." He goes, "But there is so many tools out there that you can go to that can give you what you need for your podcast." He goes, "So go look at all those different tools, go to YouTube, go to Chat GBT. Once you do that and you get your podcast going," he goes, "then reach out to me." And so I reached out to him probably a couple months ago, and I was like, "Hey man, it's been a long time. We haven't talked or whatever." And he kind of chuckled. He's like, "Yeah, but probably by design, right? He's been busy." But he said, he goes, I see your podcast is really doing really well, and I see it's a success. He goes, the reason why I didn't hold your hand through it is because I wanted you to find a way to make it happen. He goes, because I feel like if I would have held your hand through it, you would have quit soon as I couldn't be there for you, and your podcast would not be, he would be where it's at today. He said, so I kind of let you take the rope by yourself. He goes, but I love to see that you're flourishing in it, and it's been a success for you. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he built some resiliency with it, and I
Oh, it
find
does
with
definitely.
the yeah with tasks and goals or educational space, man, that's a valuable component of it. What I've
Yeah.
also seen is trying to climb the mountain of personal and professional growth. There
Hmm.
is so much noise out there, and there's
Yep.
so much confusion and noise, and where to go, and what it looks like, and what is the real clear path for me as a person to grow strong in life and leadership. This is what growth time offers. It offers a
Hmm.
thought of let's get out all the noise. Let's get out all the places you can go look for it and say, hey, here's how I climb this mountain of personal professional growth because I know I want to elevate my game. I know I want to be a mission mover. And I know personal and professional growth is the pathway to do it. So, yeah, I love
Yep.
it.
Perfect. So the question is, Quinn, give us one suggestion or feedback on what we can do to rewire the way we think.
Mindset changes behavior. So if you're listening, well, you're probably listening still, right? Hopefully. Write that down. Mindset changes behavior. If you think any change you've made in your life, if you think about any change you even made today, how you felt about yourself, a situation, until your mindset changes, your behavior never changes. So, how to change your mindset is to grab that nugget. My behavior in life, how I feel
Mm-hmm.
about myself, how I feel about a situation, how I feel about a person, my story I'm telling myself, my perspective will determine what my behavior is. So mindset will change behavior. And take that nugget and say, wait, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling angry, I'm disappointed, I'm in a victim mentality, I'm feeling lethargic, I'm dealing with anxiety and stress. What is the mindset that you need to embrace? What is a perspective that will change your behavior?
Well said. Thank you, Coach Quinn. So, to my listeners, like I said, if you want to get in contact with Coach Quinn, you're interested in growth time. I have mines. I don't know about you all, but I have mines. But if you're interested in it, I'm going to put a link within. Yes, he has his, everyone. You can see that. I have mine. He has his. You need to get yours. So, I'm going to put the link to Coach Quinn to his book or a way to contact him if you're interested in getting the book. That way you can get growth time and read that. Well, Coach Quinn, it's been great having you on the show. I really appreciate it. I feel like that you brought a lot of more excitement out of me today, just seeing how passionate you are, as I shared earlier. So thank you for being part of the show.
Hey, Coach James, thanks for having me on. I love being on a place where I got a mission mover like you, because that's what you're doing. You're moving your mission. Excited
I
to.
pre I really appreciate that. Thank you. And for my listeners, if you have not hit that follow button, make sure you do. That way you never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. Hey y'all, I'm not hard to find. I'm on IG all day, every day. It's James Watkins at 40 and Fit Life Coach. If you're struggling today with thoughts of suicide, thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else, please don't hesitate to call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. Hey everyone, I'm Coach James. Let me help rewire the way you think. And as I always say, practice daily mindset rehabilitation. And that's my 2 cents in there, y'all. Peace.